Hello everyone, Marco Montemagno here, the Tech Alchemist, and today I have here with me two great guests. Really, I'm so happy to have you here, guys. I'm embarrassed. I'm excited, to have you here, Cali Lewis and John P. Geekbit.tv. Hi guys.
Yay.
How are you?
Everything great. I was telling to John before to begin that you have such a difficult surname, and you know what I did? I did on SoundCloud how to pronounce Montemagno, which is my horrible surname, and so people can click on the play and hear the pronunciation.
That's a great idea. I should do that. But the problem is, even when people learn exactly how to pronounce my name, they don't want to do it. So it's actually, you'll appreciate this because you have an ear that is trained for languages other than just English. But
us Americans, we're pretty pitiful.
They don't want to hear it. So my father's Greek. He's a Greek immigrant to the U.S. and I'm a first generation American. The way my dad says it, he says "Pozadzidis," but the way we say it in American, we say "Pozazidis." But of course, even that's too hard, so that's why everybody just calls me John P. In fact, if you
Google you beat out Pope John Paul and every other John P possibility.
Yeah,
like
John P. I'm number one on Google for John P. So that's all you have to remember, John P.
I think even your business card for a while just said
Google
John P, right?
It did. Just said Google John P.
That's great. But also, Cali, I saw your entry on Wikipedia, and you have an original Italian name, or are just crazy?
Nope, you are absolutely correct. My real name is not Cali Lewis. That is a stage name. It's my made-up name. But it's Luria Petrucci. So that's my very Italian name.
A Greek and an Italian.
And we fight all the time.
Yeah.
Great. So, guys, before to begin, I'm just curious about a couple of things. The first one is how was in Mexico, because I saw some holidays and vacations, so I would like to start from that point that I think is very interesting. Playa del Carmen, I saw some.
It was awesome. I've never been to Mexico. I don't think you had either.
The only foray into Mexico I ever had before our trip, was in Laredo. You don't want to be in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. I'll just say that. However, Playa del Carmen down in the Mexican Riviera.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really nice. Better than I expected, I guess. But we were there for a friend's wedding, and they had asked John to play photographer because he's an amazing photographer.
No, stop.
So, wedding photography is certainly different than other kinds of photography, and so he did a fantastic job at it, and all those photos are posted online. Beautiful, beautiful shots. And I got to hold a flash every once in a while. So.
Little bit more serious question. In Europe, we've been talking a lot, but I think all over the world, about Obama victory. And I was wondering how did you get it? Also because I saw so much technology in this victory, a lot of using of big data, data scientists, social media a lot. What was your feedback about it?
I find it fascinating how much technology is coming to rule the election process. And even though the U.S. tends to be a little bit ahead of other countries, I think that this is a leading indicator of where it's going to be going everywhere. I would actually go back to the previous election and say, if we look at this particular election, Obama did use big data. He had teams of people doing analytics and number crunching and telling him where to focus and what to do. And that's useful. But even in the previous election, he really ruled social media the way no one ever had before. So,
well, it was the perfect timing for it, for sure. And, he was always being seen with his BlackBerry at the time, and that was a big deal. Of course, that's no longer the case, but But yeah, there was a lot of technology, but at the same time, when you're actually in the voting process at the polls, we're still using very old methods in a lot of places.
In a lot of places, yeah. We have a mixture because the way the U.S. voting system works, it's not standardized nationally. It's managed on an individual local level. So you really might honestly have certain precincts in small towns that use paper, and they mark with a pencil and stick it through a machine, or you might also have in other places touch screen type of voting processes. And there have been a lot of discussions about how things could be cheated one way or another, but the point is it's not universal at this time. So anyway, it was very interesting.
Well, by the way, if Cali, you run for the next election, we'll vote for you. I just want to tell you this, so no worry about that.
Well, thank you. I think he's already taken the claim because he keeps saying that John P stands for president.
Yeah, the P stands for president. She's not old enough to be president yet.
I'm not old enough, that's right.
You're literally not old enough to be president, but I am. So
the benefits of age. Right?
I don't think they're going to let me be president. I'm pretty sure about that.
All right, guys. So let's go to. Oh God, I always stay here hours talking about stupid things. But okay, no, let's talk serious. Geekbit, okay? I'm really looking at Geekbit as a great example of how to produce television quality videos. I've been doing television on Sky News in Italy for 7 years, so I come from a very traditional approach on television. A lot of cameras, tons of people, studios, radio mic in your ear with people talking every 2 seconds when you speak and so on. I'm in love, but I'm a tech entrepreneur, so I'm in love for technology and everything that is new. And Geekbit for me is a great example of what you can do today in online videos, which is such a hot topic. And I love the way that you also test, experiment things. I recently saw you testing this TriCaster 40 for live production. So you're always on the edge, in my opinion. That's my perception, from an independent observer. So I was really in love for your approach. And I would like to explain you to the Tech Alchemist community. So first, what's happening in the online video world at the moment, if it's possible to create a sustainable business. And I would start from this scenario and then I go deeper in the details.
Fair.
Well, first of all, thank you. That's very humbling, and we appreciate our team is constantly trying to push the boundaries and make great content, but at the same time experiment a little bit. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, I would say if we were trying to kind of lay the foundation for where online video fits in the world right now, I recently read a statistic that 3/4 of the American public currently accesses YouTube on a routine basis. And if you just think about that for a minute and let it, settle in, YouTube is a service that literally did not exist a decade ago. So if we look at the adoption rate of every technology that has ever been in the history of mankind, and we compare that to the adoption rate of online video using only YouTube as an example, it's an astounding change in a very short period of time. And so we have clearly an audience that is there that's desirous of the content, but we also have a lot of independent producers of content. In fact, the web is really the great equalizer, because as you mentioned, Marco, you are on TV, you have done television locally. Now you can do the same thing internationally, and you don't even need the studio, where we actually, Cali and I both do routine appearances on news segments, and we go to local TV studios and CNN and BBC and Fox News and all these guys, and they have magnificent facilities. and they're nothing like our humble little studio here. But there's kind of an adoption process of getting into this,
Right.
where you have to start small, you have to invest a little bit, both in terms of time and some capital to start off, and as you grow the audience and as you find ways, and you have to be opportunistic, as you find ways to generate some revenue, you have to take that and reinvest it in your online business, in your content business, and maybe upgrade your equipment and learn how to be a little more professional and stay one step ahead of all the others, the competitors out there.
Yeah, I think you hit on a really good key point there is upgrade. Everyone that I know that started out, way back when, we all started small, and that is the beauty of online content production, is that you can start small, just like you were saying, but the upgrade process is key, because you've always got to push those boundaries. You've always got to get better, teach yourself more, go to classes if you can, education is key in terms of increasing your skill level as well as your production level and all of that.
I would just add one last little comment, which is, if I were going to sum up everything that we both just said, I would throw out a line that when I was in the Marine Corps,
here we go.
Decades ago, a drill instructor told me this once, and he was talking about war, okay, but I have found it applies to everything in life. He who is most committed wins.
Yeah, it is. But tell me one thing, John. What's the minimum production cost that you would recommend to a company? My personal theory is that soon every company will have their own video studio. Whatever it is, just to produce some content, corporate content, or doing whatever it is, but just a small video studio every company will have. By the way, I also think that everyone will have also his own documentary about himself, but this is another point. What's the minimum production cost that you would recommend? What's the minimum amount of money you have to invest to start producing decent video?
We actually get this question a lot, and it's difficult to answer specifically, because there can be a wide variety of environments and styles and types of video production. But if we were to say generally, what do we think would kind of be the minimum investment that you need to make to get started for the average person who wants to begin producing video content? I would say you could do it for easily less than $1,000 US, and that would probably be primarily broken down into a few key pieces of equipment. Number one, a camera of some sort, and you could do it, for example, with a Nikon P7100. That's a little pocket camera. It's not even a video camera. It's literally a camera. But the important thing is it has really good optics. It does a nice movie mode. And the key, it has an external microphone input jack.
That is before you move on, you have to have that. You cannot use the onboard camera mic for anything you do, because it's just bad quality, and people will notice. And the thing that you have to remember always with your content and with the equipment that you choose to use is that there's so much out there for people to consume, that if it is bad quality, they'll just move right on. They don't have to stick around. This isn't the lecture class, they're not.
Well, with one exception, unless it's like ridiculously compelling.
Yeah, exactly. There is bad quality out there that gets millions of views, but
if an elephant stepped on a baby, even if it was filmed, people are gonna watch it. I'm sorry. Okay. The second. The second little piece of equipment that you really need is a microphone, but you can get by with a wired microphone, something cheap that you'd find. I don't know if they have Radio Shacks internationally, but even at a Radio Shack in the U.S., just a little $30 wired microphone and or a lavalier microphone that you can clip on you. And then finally, I think you need a little external light, because a lot of times you just don't have quite enough illumination. And you could, for $50, you can get something off Amazon. You just do a search for LED light panel, and you get a small one of those for $50. I mean, what we just described, we're easily under $500, and you could up it from there a little bit if you want. But that would be plenty to get someone started making some good content that they could put out there.
So, I mean, you can do it for cheap. You can, just spend a little bit and get started. But one thing that everyone has to remember is that the time that you spend to produce it is going to be key as well.
That's the number one thing.
You have to be willing to spend the time to do it right, to do it well, and just to do it at all, because video takes a lot of time.
Also, obviously, if you want to grow from that, we've been talking before about the TriCaster 40, which is a $5,000 mixer, basically video and audio mixer, to produce. Before those kind of equipment, I mean, it cost, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000, then 40,000, and now 5,000. So probably will be cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to have great quality material, also for very professional production, I guess, very soon.
Yeah, well, in fact, yes, you're right. The TriCaster is an interesting piece of equipment because it's essentially brought a full-on production TV studio and packaged it in a box. And they have a variety of them. The basic one starts at $5,000. You could spend $50,000. We have the $50,000 ones here as well. And what it does is it allows you to switch between multiple cameras that are hardwired into it, and allows you to bring up titles on the screen. It allows you to mix in other pre-recorded photos and videos. Great piece of equipment. And if, for example, you have a small business and you wanted to do a weekly live streaming show, it really makes it affordable. $5,000 for one of those boxes, 3 cameras that are maybe, like $500 a piece, like a Canon Vixia camera, camcorder, a couple of mics and a small $99 mixer. I mean, you're talking about, let's say, under $7,000 to have a full-on live streaming. Maybe a little more for a few lights, but you can even go cheaper than that. Now there is an application that you can get for iOS. It's made by i4 Software, and it's called Video Camera. They're in the process of renaming it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's still called Video Camera. You can load it on iPhones, iPads.
I think Android's coming soon.
What are those little not a phone, but it's like an
iPod?
Not the iPod, the Touch, an iPod Touch.
It's an iPod.
Yeah, it is. You can load it on those, and as long as they're all on the same wireless network, you can actually use, let's say, 3 iPads as a 3-camera setup and switch between them and control them all from one iPad. And that's like $20 a piece for the application. I mean, you're right, it's getting much cheaper, and you can still have reasonable quality by doing it that way.
The other main problem is that a lot of time people doing videos forget that people then have to watch the video, and if it's so boring or if it's no format, or people will never watch it. So one thing that I really appreciate about Geekbit is that you try to make technology fun, engaging in a very professional way, but making it easy. Get people closer to technology by making it, entertaining also. So this is a very nice approach. So what's your secret formula to engage and create an online community and keep audience watching your video and don't pause after 3 seconds?
Cali Lewis.
Let's jump to the next question.
Oh, you want a little more detail. Okay.
No, that you are right. Our number one priority is to entertain, is to have fun. Neither of us think technology should be boring, and so we just naturally have fun with it. One key thing is our rule that nothing gets on the show without us being excited by it or passionate about it. So we're not going to cover a laptop that just came out if it has no special features, or it's boring, or it's bad.
We don't do boring.
What's the point?
Yeah.
So, and we love helping people. Both of us are constantly helping people, and so I think just by translation, we want to help people understand what this technology means. And by no means do we think that people are dumb or need to be, broken down for them. That's not our philosophy. We just want them to be able to embrace technology a little bit better.
And everybody has a different expertise,
Yeah.
I mean, we it's not like we treat one particular thing as a difficult topic and we try and dumb it down for
Right.
people. We just try and talk at a level that everyone can understand across all the things that we engage on. And if I were going to try and give you some advice on things that people could do to somewhat emulate us, if that would be a good thing to do,
I'm not sure, but
I would recommend. But one, I would say, you've got to keep it concise. You'll notice if you watch Geek Beat that our normal episode, of course, we do our long format weekly show, and we might touch on that in a minute, but in terms of the daily show, it's 5 to 7 minutes, and we cover 3 to 5 topics, okay? 2 minutes on a topic is a long time for people to watch on video, so keep it short, keep it punchy.
Yeah. Changing up the visuals is the big thing for video.
Yeah.
Making sure that people aren't just staring at the same thing I think there's like a research study, like every 7 seconds,
Yeah.
you have to have something visually changing. So that's key.
Yeah. Also, I would say this one's a little more difficult. This one only comes with practice, but be natural on camera.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so easy. Just be natural. What happens is anytime a camera is pointed at you, you feel like, oh my God, this is being recorded for posterity. They could hold this against me,
That's like nervous.
You get nervous. What if I make a mistake? And believe me, this I think was more difficult for me to overcome than normal people, because I used to be a chief marketing officer, like in a big business. Okay, I come from big corporate backgrounds, and everything we did was scripted out. I mean, a press release would go through 3 people and then come to me for final approval.
All this crap.
Guess what? You're going to say things wrong on video. You're going to make mistakes. What we have to do is change the mindset, and you have to say, you know what? If I say 10 things and 1 is wrong, that's perfectly acceptable, because 90% of the time what I did was fine, and people will forgive me for being human. In fact, people like that. They don't want you to always be perfect like a robot.
Right. What's the best way
It really depends on your content. I mean, you have to take that into consideration. So if for something like us, we try and keep it between 5 and 7 minutes. There are studies that are showing that longer form content on YouTube is doing well, and that people are accepting it a bit more. But at the same time, you have to have the right content to go long form.
Look, my general rule is take as long as it takes to tell the story, and no longer. Okay? It just what's that individual story going to take to hit the key points, and not every little detail.
People don't need every detail.
Actually, you know what? Not only do they not need every detail, if you give them every detail, it doesn't leave them any opportunity for future exploration of the topic. So how about tell them enough to get them really interested, and then let them Google it. That gives them they're more engaged with that content.
Well, another point that I was curious about is I saw Geekbit being on, Geekbit on Revision 3 on YouTube. So where is Geekbit? I mean, where is your house? What's your strategy? Being everywhere, but then how is the business model? So I want to try to understand a little bit more about that.
You absolutely have to be everywhere these days. People are watching the content where they want to watch it. If that's iTunes, they're pretty much only going to iTunes. If they want to only be on YouTube, they're only going to be on YouTube. So you as a content producer have to be everywhere that you want your content consumed. So you've got to be on YouTube. You've got to have an RSS feed available through iTunes. We're on TiVo. We're on the Roku box.
Well, we're also on television, and we also do live streaming. What we found was our audience was wanting more from us than we were delivering. Originally, the Geek Beat show only came out on iTunes. I mean, you could get it there, that was it. Then later, YouTube was added, and we treated it like an ugly stepchild. Actually, I mean, we just
I'll tell to my friend Steve Chen this. Okay.
And so then later we started saying, we get a lot of engagement on YouTube, and that's a pretty good community. Let's give it some more attention. And so we started giving YouTube more love. And around the same time, the audience from everywhere was saying, hey, why don't you guys do some live content like Leo Laporte, for example? And so we dabbled in it. And at first, we treated live like an ugly stepchild as well. In fact, we treated it worse than we did YouTube. But then live became important to us, and we invested in it. We invested in the infrastructure and the time to do it. And then, of course, we were approached by a TV network who said, hey, that live thing that you do is, pretty popular. Can we put it on our nationwide, TV thing? And we said, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Why don't you do that? And so, basically, in fact, not only that, now you'll very soon.
Oh.
We haven't told anybody this. This is an exclusive.
Wait. Okay, go.
There is a network of it's called Indoor Direct in the U.S. and they have TVs in
like Wendy's and Taco Bell's and all
restaurants
and
stuff all over the country, thousands of them. And we're actually going to begin providing our Geek Beat content for them to run on there. So you kind of, a lot of, and there'll be some more things coming too. But as Cali says, you want to be in as many places as you can, even if you're not making money off all of them, because it's additional exposure, it's an additional awareness, and sometimes the best revenue that you're going to generate from things like this is indirect. It's not direct. So yes, we have Ford and we have Netflix and we have domain.com and all these guys advertising on our show, but what actually that's not the bulk of our revenue. The bulk of our revenue comes from special projects people ask us to do, endorsement things, and all these ancillary things. So mainly you want to be everywhere so you can get as much awareness as possible, and then the other opportunities start coming as well.
Elaborate more about the business model, because everyone talk about the business model for videos and advertising, fine, but if you have huge numbers is one thing, otherwise it's very difficult. Subscriptions, or what's the right business model in your experience? I don't know also if Geekbit is profitable or not, but what's your vision on this point?
Well, okay, we are fortunate enough that the Geekbeat on its own is profitable. Livid Lobster, our parent company, which owns Geekbeat and does other things as well, is very profitable. We do well. We support a business. We have employees there. We keep food on the table for those guys, so that makes us happy. As if you look at that though, it took 7 years to build what we've built so far, and we also had the additional assistance of having access to capital. You know, in my former life, I did pretty well, and so we had some capital. Not that we had to invest a ton here, but even just a little infusion of capital to get things started helps. Not everyone has these advantages, and frankly, not everyone wants to build a team of 10, 20, 40, 50 people. That's a headache as well. So if I were to say where I think the biggest return on investment comes from being engaged in the types of things we're doing right now, for an individual, the biggest ROI can come from establishing yourself as an expert. You don't need hundreds of thousands or millions of followers if you even just build up a few thousand and establish yourself as an expert on a topic, because you can use that as a personal launch pad to get a new job, for example, or to upgrade your job. And so you might have to invest in a year or more of getting out there and working this social media thing and doing videos and being online and maybe building a blog. But if by doing so, it allows you to go from, let's say, a $30,000 or $40,000 a year job to a $60,000 or $70,000 a year job, hey, that's big ROI.
Right. And along those lines, you know, one thing that, regardless of which path you choose, the online video world and the online world in general is all personality based. So it is about you being that brand. So when you're trying to become, you know, an expert in a field, then you have to realize that it's about selling yourself. And that's a really tough position for a lot of people to be in. They don't feel comfortable selling themselves. They don't feel comfortable saying, I'm great, well, which is nice. It's great because you should be humble. But
well, it's hard to deal with rejection.
It is.
And it doesn't matter, by the way, who you are. Even if you're Cali Lewis, this is a good example, and everyone should note this, okay? Cali is a very intelligent, beautiful woman. She's actually a model. People pay her huge money to come and speak and represent their brands. And you know what? Virtually every video that we put out that features Cali, if you go to YouTube and check out the comments, somebody's going to say, oh, she's fat, she's ugly, she's whatever, you know? And it happens to everyone. It happens to me, it happens to everyone. And so you have to very quickly develop a thick skin and just get over it and say, hey, I'm going to do this. As I said before, he who is most committed wins. If you're committed to doing this, in the long run, it will pay off. You just have to believe that.
I got the best worst comment ever when someone wrote me, I don't like you because you look like Steve Jobs, but fat. And I said, I'm not fat. Okay, Steve Jobs, but I'm not fat.
Compared to Steve Jobs when he was battling cancer, you're a giant.
Like that. So guys, we are very long, so I just steal you 2 minutes more because it's so much fun to talk with you, and also because it's great to produce your own video. You are not obliged, you know, to. I just give you this story. I had Jeff Bezos once guest in my television show on Sky News in Italy, and I say to the director of the channel, I say, he's Jeff Bezos. I mean, I would like to talk with him 1 hour, something like that. And he said, okay, you have 3 minutes and a half, and that's it. And I say, come on, it's Jeff Bezos. Okay, 3 minutes. So there's no way.
You either take it or leave it, right?
That's horrible. Okay, so what I want to understand is 3 gadgets that you really would recommend. Normally ask 3 apps or 3 websites for business, but 3 gadgets that you say, gosh, those are 3 amazing gadgets that I really would like to recommend to.
Well, we have, just saying this, we are kicking off our holiday gift guides tomorrow.
Oh, are we? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow
How about
it
that?
starts. So like once a week you'll see a new gift guide. So lots of stuff that's coming up. But one of my favorite
if you have to
gadgets
narrow
this
it
year-
down, yeah.
I know, it's really hard. The Phaeton Bluetooth earphones.
Yeah,
I
those are great.
use every single day. They're just Bluetooth earphones that are wireless. Well, they're not, they're Bluetooth, so they're not connecting to your phone. So at the gym or in the car, I use those.
I use them while riding my motorcycle
But
or
I
a
have the newer,
lawnmower.
better care.
She
better
does. But this is definitely one thing we can agree on.
Yes.
Phaeton headphones, they're great. Another thing that I think we can both agree on is the My Charge
Yes.
portable charging unit.
It's a portable battery.
Do I have one sitting here? I have one. Hang
Yeah.
on, I'll show you. Just 1 second.
It's a portable battery that'll charge up to 3 different gadgets at the same time. This is awesome.
Yeah. So what it does is it's great. So on this side, it's got a little micro USB.
Uh-huh.
On the bottom here, it has an iOS kind of connector, so you can do that. And then there's also on the bottom a USB port that you can plug anything into. But here's the best thing of all: this is a 6,000 milliamp battery, and if you look right here, I can fold this down, and those are plugs. I don't know if you can see very well. Let's see, how can we get it to where? Maybe right there. Okay, it plugs into the wall, so you just plug it into the wall, it recharges itself, and everything that you have plugged into it recharges. And then when you're done, you just fold the little thing up, stick this in your bag, take it with you, and it's a big enough battery to recharge an iPhone 4 times, and that's $99 in the U.S. For the big one, and there's a smaller one for $69. That's one I think.
Yeah, that's definitely one we
A
could
definite. What now? The third one.
Well, I'm wanting to say my new Windows 8 machine.
Yeah.
I haven't started playing with. Well, I've played with it just a little bit. This is the Sony Vaio Ultrabook that's running Windows 8, and I'm really liking it. It's a touch screen, but I don't know if I can say that just yet because I haven't really played with it too much.
I think you can say that we're really enjoying Windows 8, and we think that the touch interface will be an absolute must-have. I think if I were to pick a third gadget, I think I'd choose the Braven portable speaker.
Yes, that's a good one. We use that all the time, actually. It is a Bluetooth portable speaker. And we... Say again?
Like Sonos.
Well,
yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah, you can use it that way.
This is
it also
really
has phone capability.
It's really a Bluetooth speaker. It has a built-in battery that will last at 10 hours, I think. 10 hours. But it also has a USB port on it. And if you're, let's say, I'm big on dual purposing things here.
Sure.
You can use this with an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever, and it's 6 watts. So play your music through it. You could connect your laptop to it, and it's much louder than your laptop is, and it sounds way better. And then if, let's say, your battery on your phone started dying, guess what? You can plug it into the USB here and leech power off of this and use it as a battery backup. So it's a great sounding speaker that can double as a battery backup.
And
you can daisy chain them together.
Exactly.
You could have 5 of these. You could put 20 of them in a row and connect them wirelessly to your iPhone and have a concert rocking out in the woods somewhere, okay? So there's 3 gadgets for you.
Lucky that you live in Dallas, otherwise I would come dressed like a ninja to try to steal in the night all your gadgets, you know? By the way, Cali, you were reading a book, Ninja of Innovation, something like that. Possible?
What was that?
You're reading a book, like Ninja of Innovation, something like that.
By Gary Shapiro. Gary is the CEO of the CEA, which is the organization that puts on CES. How's that?
That was a good explanation there.
So he does a lot of work on the innovative side of technology, making sure that technology is being pushed forward and innovation, it says it all, really.
Well, clearly we're advocates of new developments in technology, as you can imagine.
So I'm very much looking forward to finishing that book.
guys, Cali Lewis, John P, Geek Big Tibu, thank you so much, guys. Tech Alchemist community, just go and check. You guys, you rock. Keep on going like that, and keep in touch. Good luck for everything.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Marco.
much,
We appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Have a good one.